All right, I just realized that. Is it fine? No, it's not fine. Hang on, I had to mess around with the size. You get a little bit of behind the scenes that I here. Anyways, tribe tier list time. I haven't done one in forever, so here we go. I don't even remember what it looks like from the previous time, and I'm not going to bother to check. So, there's a lot. I don't have like stats this time. Sorry to say, but I just don't. I haven't had time. I had that whole big blasters video, which I did, and then I worked, so I haven't had time to look up the stats yet. But anyways, it's not really gonna matter too much because I got Sal's opinion, aka the guy who makes the spreadsheet, who's pretty knowledgeable, and he basically agrees with me. So there's at least one person on this earth that agrees with me, so I'm pretty confident in it. Anyways, so here in last place, it's Wicked and Wandroid. I mean, are you even like surprised? So Wicked and Rondroid, even if they got two UZ unities, one's an EX popper, one's a fever extender, and then they got another UZ. I don't know. Even you could do UZ plus, and it'd be like a super spammable character. I still don't think they'd be able to beat Thrones. Like quite literally, they are just that boned. So, anyways, next in the actual last place, I mean, obviously it's Enma. They haven't gotten a buff yet, so Enma, uh, like literally, they haven't gotten a buff since Omen Enma. There has not been a single new Enma tribe character. They quite literally need a UZ plus unity at this point to even be serviceable. Next, I mean, I know we're going kind of fast, but that's because like nothing's changed so far. Next up in last place, we have Eerie, second to last place. So the problem with Eerie is that we can go down to UZs, and it's about here. So we have Okumo. Okumo is a fever extender with revive and fast fever. Now, she doesn't have any skill to help get her Soultimate the first time, but it's not really too bad. And then if we go to UZ Plus, you'll see they have Meteorite Asu, who is a fever fill Soultimate filler. And they haven't gotten anything else. But they've also got Mimi Ubayami, who's basically just Asu, but instead of like Mercury Asu, but instead of redrop, she has other Soultimates can fill her Soult Gaze. So actually, I think it's a little bit better. Not for like spamability, but it's still pretty useful. The problem is that we had to get rid of BD for it. And if you know anything about BD, you know that he provided some pretty good stats because of his Dragon Slayer's Unity buffing him, Jingi, wherever he may be. Him, Jingi, and Taicho Rei all got stats from it. Now, they didn't have a revive, so Okumo provides that, but because they lose stats, the revive isn't quite as valuable. I mean, it's still better, just slightly. And personally, I think Asu kind of sucks. Like, yeah, sure, he can help with chain abilities things, but I prefer Mimi because of her attack boost. Like, Eerie quite literally needs, like, a Unity EX popper at this point. I know I always, like, dog on people for saying, like, oh, Marine's not that good anymore. She is still good, obviously, but the rest of her tribe is so boned. It is, she will have to go. So that way they can get something better. Because, it, like, just replace this with Unity. Peak. Anyways, what if we did do that? Well, then we would get the next tribe, funnily enough. Slippery. Slippery, hasn't gotten a buff. Like, since. So, in case you forgot, they have a Unity Feverfill EX Popper Kyra here, who's pretty cool. Then, I personally like to still run a Kegare Zochten. So, technically, well, no, I was going to say he's like the best aging UZ rank, but, I mean, yeah, I mean, you can still use him, but there are people that don't use him. But so probably Summer Setsuna is the best aging one, in my opinion, probably. So we have Kegare Zochten. Then we have freaking, oh yeah, she's down here. We have Santa Yu, wherever she may be. I passed her. It's been forever since I've had to like look in these triple Z's because okay, here she is. Santa Yu with her LB10 stats and Unity rank. Then we have Seiryu, the that guy, wherever he may be. Right here, Seiryu, the Unity Fever extender. And then for the final place, you have a lot of options. You can run Mercury Death. You can run Mercury Asu. Where are they? Oh yeah, they're like after Konosuba. I forgot. Wait, that was like the most peak month ever. Where are they? I can't find them. I saw Aqua here. You can run either of these two. You can be like what Sal says and have a low tier shoe. I don't really like it because they're not really that chainable. Like you quite literally have to rely on low tier shoe and then kind of Seiryu. So I just prefer to have one of these two. But they're just eerie but better. So like that I'm quite serious. They are literally just better eerie. So even if eerie got that like eerie with a Unity EX popper would only be slightly better than slippery purely because they have a revive. That is literally the only thing making them different. So, anyways, in sixth place, we have Mysterious. Now, you might be a little confused as to why Mysterious is down here, considering that they just got a second UZ Unity. And they just got, like, Asu, who can hit insanely hard and is, like, better than Spectre. So, the thing is, we'll look at the team, so, for now. We have, what's her face? Where is she? Aqua. We have Aqua, obviously. Then, obviously, we have the UZ Unity Okayu, wherever she is, right here, UZ Unity Okayu. And now we have UZ Unity Akane. And if we look at UZ Plus, you'll see that there's not anything here besides Asu, but Asu isn't really wanted, mainly because we have access to Beachside Natsuyomi right here. She is a starter range character, and you can get her Soultimate essentially guaranteed, and she's an Inflate 4. An Inflate 4 with her can give her her own G Soultimate back, and then give you 2 Aqua Soultimates because of Aqua's whole, fever power thing. Now, with the EX Popper, honestly, Blue Sky Helmet Suzaku is really freaking good because of his ability to give crits. It doesn't really matter that he doesn't do too much damage because if you're spamming Aqua and she gets crits, that's like 350,000 damage or something like that probably, I don't know. And like you're basically just spamming Beach Natsuyomi and Aqua, and then like even if you use Okayu or Akane, they still, if they crit, they hit really freaking hard. So Mysterious is really good, but the tribe that I think is a little bit better is Shady. Now Shady hasn't really gotten too big a buff, even though they just got, get out of the way, news, I don't care. Even though they just got Ginga Emperor Usapion. I don't know if it's Ginga or Ginja. Who cares? We're calling him Emperor Usapion because he's not even in the game normally. So Emperor Usapion is a starter ranged with 3 units, which I think is stupid. I'm going to rant about this for a minute. So he's a UZ plus with starter ranged. If we go over to UZ ranks, Summer Setsuna is a starter ranged, and so is Beach Natsuyomi, but they only do 2 units. That's how starter ranged works. So they only give certain units like out of the team. So like for example, you have 5 characters, only 2 of them will be arranged. For Usapion, it's 3 units out of 5. Why is Golden Claws the entire board? The full team gets starter range. He's the 3rd UZ plus, and Emperor Usapion is quite literally the same level of value because they're both paid exclusive. A Nyanbo is not less valuable than a Yoma exclusive. Like, holy, I hate this character. I hate this team. I hate this dev team. Like, seriously. So anyways, he is a Soultimate filler, and using his Soultimate can cause other large Puni to fall. So quite literally, it is just for his Soultimate and his starter range. His other skill kind of mid. So you might think, well, who the heck would be replaced? Well, we have Usapion, who also provides some extra stats, which is pretty neat. Then we gotta scroll down for a little bit because, Shady doesn't really have too much. You can bring Punigami Kagare, or you could bring I'm not what? It's Lolita Pecora. You can bring Peko, who I would personally recommend doing. Then you scroll down a little bit more because, Shady just didn't get anything useful. And you might think, well, we have Suisse right here. But wait, we scroll down a little bit, we have Jane. So we got EX Popper here, we got Jane, and then we got Emperor Saphion. Those are three characters that are obviously not going to disappear. Then we have Black Hole Asu, and then we have QB, or Miyabi, whatever you want to call her. So we have Unity, and also Fever Extender. Unity Link Big Fever Extender, who's one of the best in the game. Then we have Unity Revive Tap Inflator, Nuclear Bomb, Extreme Popper down here. It doesn't look like it changes to me, so even though it does. So really, the last slot is either Suisse, who provides a little bit extra damage and a fast fever, or a starter ranged Soultimate filler for chain ability. And personally speaking, I think Emperor is a little bit better. And because you have 3 units with starter ranged, the fast fever isn't really too necessary, especially since you have Lolita Pecora, who can essentially almost give you all of Jane's Soultimate to start charging. So, really, Shady is just the same, except now they're a little bit easier to use and more consistent. It doesn't matter if you didn't get Emperor Sapion right now, because he's cool, but he's not necessary, and they can still do 2.5 million damage with all of their HP. But with Emperor Sapion, they can probably get to like 2.7, 2.8 maybe. Also, when is this going to become a costume in Blasters Plus Plus? That will actually be so sick when that happens. So, comparatively, Shady and Mysterious. Mysterious has a higher ceiling because of the crits, but it's just easier to use Shady. But this isn't saying like Mysterious sucks, because then again, you can quite literally make a Mysterious team with Aqua, Beatrice, whoever you want, and then 2 appearless characters, and then beat any stage. So, yeah. Next up, in 4th place, we have Tough. Tough is a pretty funny team, in all honesty. So they have 0 UZ plus yet, I'm fairly certain. Yeah, none of these characters are tough. So, when are we getting a tough UZ plus? Probably not next event, which is Niji Sanji, by the way. So, I didn't make a community post because I forgot. But it's Niji Sanji, which is just VTubers. So if we scroll all the way up, you'll see that it took Tough quite a while to get a UZ rank as well. But then they got Tamonten Ren, who I think is still the best EX popper. You can use Gunshin though, but it's whatever. I prefer Tamonten Ren just cause. Then we take a little while, and then we get Future Ren, who's still on the team, obviously. So we got 3 characters so far. No, we got 2 characters. I'm an idiot. 2 characters, which is an EX popper and our Fever Extender. Then we scroll down a little bit more, and then you'll see we have Rem right here. Rem is broken with her little exploit, so obviously she's on the team. And then we'll go to Triple Z's for a second. Look up Gunshin. You'll have normal Gunshin. Then you'll have Puppet Gunshin, who is a Unity character with tap inflating, so he's pretty cool. And then for the final character, who is new to this tier list appearance, I guess, we have Hangetsu. Hangetsu is an Inflate 4 who will inflate the 4 largest Puni, and she also has Drop Big and Pop Heal. So she can spam herself, and when you pop her large Puni, she can heal 380 HP. So if you proc her 3 times, that's 1000 HP. You proc her 6 times, that is over a whole counter you can heal. So Tough, even though their HP isn't really that crazy at first glance, not only do they have a revive, but they also have Hangetsu, who can essentially give them an extra 1000 to 2000 HP. And if you use Hangetsu's Soultimate as the last Soultimate and then the revive triggers, and you pop all of her Puni and you get enough heals, you can use an extra Soultimate after your revive and still not die. She's really cool. I like her. So Tough can hit like 3 million damage with all their heals. So yes, Tough is insanely good. So then now we have the top 3. And we're going to put Brave at number 3. Now the thing with Brave is that their team is really freaking weird. So we go all the way up. We have to, go for a little while. Then we have Itsuki, who is the Fever Extender with Fast Fever and Afterfill. If she had Fever Fill, it wouldn't even be a problem for Brave, but they don't. So she's still here. Then we go for a little bit longer, and then we get Gear 5 Nate, That's what we call him because he looks like Gear 5 Luffy. But this is Demon God Nate. He is an EX popper, but he's an AoE, so his damage is gutted by like a third. But he has Fever Fill and Unity, so he's fine. You would think. Then we scroll down a little bit more. We have Megumin. A lot of people don't like Megumin, but if you use Easy Link Megumin, it's really just not that bad. And she also has Revive, so it's pretty cool. Then we go for a while because obviously Brave didn't get anything when they have to get Megumin because they were still really good up until this point. Then we keep scrolling, and then we have Uzora Subaru Easter, who is a Yuzi Unity, but she's an all-popper that can crit, which sucks, and she has Drop Big. She's got like a 70% chance to do normal damage, which is like isn't even normal damage. It's slightly above average, I think. So, if you use her like once, it's fine. Then we'll talk about this in a second. We have Mara. Mara is an all-popper that does more damage when you have over 100 combo, and she's got Drop Big, and Large Puni can fill her Soultimate gauge. So she's insanely spammable and does like 400,000 damage. Now, some people who like hate Megumin are like, oh, Megumin is not good to bring because Mara does what Megumin does. Like, Megumin takes like 20 seconds to fire and does like 800,000 damage at bare minimum. Mara does that in 2 Soultimates. But what they don't tell you is that not only does Megumin bring a Revive, which could be a whole extra Soultimate, but she also does it in only 1 counter. So you get more damage per counters, which is really what you need in order to be able to win. But since we have Mara right here, obviously she's on the team. So the team so far is Demon God Nate, Itsuki, Megumin, well, Mara, obviously, Megumin, and then Yuzi Subaru, because of, 2 Yuzi Unities. Then we got a third Yuzi Unity, but it's also Mara, and she's an extreme popper, which you think, oh, that would just be a slightly better thing to bring than Demon God. But she doesn't have a skill to help get her Soultimate. She instead has Afterfill. Why did they do this to her? If she was a Fever Extender, she would actually be insanely good, and Brave would be like actually insane. But we can't. We can't have that because obviously we have to get the Fever Extending to this bum who is not on the team. Like, there are some people who will like say, "Oh, she's on the team technically," but like, are you really gonna do that? I would hope not. I would hope you have more self-respect than to have 2 of the same character on the team who look almost exactly the same. So Brave, they're so insanely good they can quite literally do at least like 3 million damage, if not more. So the difference between Brave and Tough, I was kind of thinking Tough might be a little bit better just because the healing is so insane. But to actually kill a throne, it's much faster for Brave. So that puts them up a tier list. Up a spot on the tier list. So then we have the 2 last tribes, Heartful and Charming. I hate that both of these teams are pretty much exactly the same. So let's look at Heartful first because it's very simple to go for Heartful. So we have Summer Setsuna who brings starter ranged. Obviously she's on the team. Then we have what's her favorite? Where is she? Santa Natsuomi. A Fever Extender with Fever Fill and Unity. She's on the team. Then we scroll down. We have Doll Yu somewhere. Where the heck is she? She's over here. We have Doll Yu, who is a pre-fill EX popper that also is essentially a Soultimate filler. She is on the team. Now we have our Unity Triple Z, Orihime Natsuomi, right here. And, she's pretty cool. Unity is insane. Now for the 5th slot, it was Noelle Double Z for a minute. Then it became Agaha. And then it became UZ plus Yotsuba Nakano. Now she is a Fever Extender UZ plus, so she does more damage than Santa Natsuomi. She also brings a Revive. So Heartful was pretty good. They got a slight little buff because of the Fever Extending. Not literally the next event. Like, we had New Year's, Idol 2, Quince, Ginja, 5? And, like, Yotsuba was quite literally replaced the next event. This is Nekoel Zemekia. She is an all-popper that does more damage with a combo over 100. That provides Heartful Unity, the first UZ plus Unity, and it's, like, the 4th event, and she's got Feverfill. Her center trait also essentially just buffs her Unity up to 31%. So, you remember how Mara did 400k per Soultimate? Well, Elzamechia does like 450k per Ultimate. And apparently South says she can do over 500k. So, she's actually insane. So, I don't understand like why she here already. She's like quite literally a top 5 character just from her sheer power. So then we got to look at Charming. Charming got a new EX popper in Golden Claws. He is an extreme popper that gives starter range to the entire team and has Feverfill. So obviously, he's on the team. Then we have your Fever Extender, whether it's Shuka, Santarem, or UZ plus Komaki. Doesn't matter, because it's just the Fever Extender. Then we have Red and White Elzamechia for Soultimate Fill, Unity, Fever Fill stuff. Pre-fill? Yeah, pre-fill. You know, obviously she's good. Then we have UZ Komaki for Unity and Inflate 4. Obviously, she's on the team. Hang on, who's the 5th character? I forgot. Oh yeah, he's right here. Then for a minute we had Princess Blazaria or Queen Blazaria. I have no idea. I'm gonna call it Queen because it's cooler than Princess Spectator, who I don't like. So Queen Blazaria is an all-popper that does more damage with a combo over 100. She's got pre-fill and drop big, so she's like the best auto unit in the game. And she also has insane damage and spam ability. I don't know how much damage she does. It's probably like 300k, 350, if I had to guess. So really freaking good. Then a couple events later, we got this guy, Swirliest Gold. He is an Inflate 4 with 99% pre-fill. Wow. Wow, he gets 4% more pre-fill. Why is it so stupid? I swear, these devs actually are just... Something is wrong with them. Like, why does he get a full starter ranged and he gets 99% pre-fill? It doesn't make a difference because guess what? Blazaria is still faster, I think, probably. But he has fast fever as well, which is why Santarem is available because this guy's a fast fever. So he does probably about the same amount of damage as Elzamechia. You know, ignoring the fact that Heartful has 3 unities and Charming only has 2. So who's better? They're both teams with starter ranged. They both have insane damage dealers, good spam ability. So like what makes them different? Literally just this stupid fat cat. Purely because his starter ranged is consistent. So Charming is the best team in the game, in my opinion. If you want to say Heartful's better because they have more damage, that's perfectly fine because they do more damage and they have more stats. I don't know what their stats are, but I know it's higher because 3 unities is insane. So I just think Charming is number 1 because of their stupid starter ranged that is consistent. So overall, this is what I think the tribe tier list looks like so far. For now, for April of 2025. So yeah, next event is Niji Sanji. I have like 41k. Hopefully I'll be able to get enough for stamps, and hopefully I'll be able to find enough people that are willing to help me, and then I'll help them back in return because that's what you have to do, and that's what you can do if you join the Discord server for the event. Just make sure you actually are like not being pushy about it because then we won't help you. Silly cat.